Hello, Tacoma, and welcome to CityLine. Thank you for tuning in this morning. I'm KRISTY GLEDHILL, and I'm sitting in for Amanda Westbrook, and I kind of feel bad for her that she's missing this show this morning because I feel like I have such a privilege in front of me to host 4 unforgettable teachers from Tacoma Public Schools. They are featured in a video series produced and created by Casey Madison, who is a video production coordinator at Tacoma Public Schools in the Public Information Office. And Casey, he put these together. He's a great videographer, and he also has a really great eye for a good story. And that's what these videos are all about. They are the stories of unforgettable teachers at TPS. They are told in their own words, and these people are just talking about what it is that makes teaching their profession and what it is that has drawn them to the profession. So we get the privilege of being able to see these videos today and then also to talk to them in the studio. And I guess I don't have to remind anybody that a really great teacher can make all the difference in a kid's life, right? Not just in the life of that student, but also in the life of that family and in the larger community. And just as a means of full disclosure, I will let you know that as the communications director for the Foundation for Tacoma Students, I believe in teachers and I believe in that power that they have to really influence a kid's life. And I also believe in the role that a community has to not only support our students, but also to support our teachers as they do this important work. So we have a big treat in front of us. Here's how it's going to work. We're going to see 4 of the videos in this series. There are more than 4, but we're going to have 4 of them here with us today. We'll see the videos for each one of them, and then we will talk to these people in person. So I want to get started right away so that we have a lot of time to talk after the video. The first one we're going to see is going to feature Aquilla Jackson. That's Mr. Jackson to his 3rd graders at Jefferson Elementary, and you will see a little bit of his alter ego in this video as well. So let's take a look at the video.
To me, being an unforgettable teacher is of extreme significance to me inside my heart. I'm just reflecting back on when I was a kid at McCarver Elementary School and then at Jason Lee and then on at Wilson. I really didn't feel like I had any teachers that truly just connected with me as a student. I mean, I don't know if it was because of the color of my skin, because I was a good student. So now that, I've become a teacher, I just wanted to make a point for every kid that I taught to say, no question, Mr. Jackson was my favorite teacher I ever had, And so I like make that a mission of mine every single day. A lot of times there's that one kid that that because of you, it made all the difference in the world for that kid. And sometimes that's all you need to keep on going. Because you don't never know who the next kid is who may be in desperate situation, in their life. You never know when that kid is coming to your door. So I got this aura of Batman, I feel like I'm like the hero, the superhero, protector of all students, the advocate for these voiceless souls. That's how I kind of ride. Great teachers do change kids' lives. I say that with strong affirmation because the magic of I guess the magic of teaching is getting the kids or getting your students to fall in love with being a student. If I was on the outside looking in, yeah. I would be awe-inspired. I would be like, wow, you're a pretty incredible dude, So I don't really think about myself like that, though, I just keep doing what I do, because it's not about me. It's about, the people that I service. Yeah.
Aquilla.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Aquilla Jackson, thank you. That video gets me every single time. And I've watched it even long before I knew I was going to be on this show with you. I watch it and every single time it gets me. And I forgot to tell people, this is a hanky show. It might be a 2-box hanky show. Because these videos end up being real tearjerkers.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it. The question that I have had in my head from the first time I saw that video is, what was it that made you want to become a teacher?
Funny that you ask. Trying to make a long story short. I grew up in a daycare. You know, my mom, she was a heavy influence on my life. And growing up in a daycare, as I grew older, the kids kind of remained the same size, same, you know, levels. And I just, in growing, just really learned how to connect with kids, you know. So when I was in high school, my mom was like, you should take over the business, you know, you're really good with kids. And I'm like, no, I'm out of here, Mom. And, you know, I went to college thinking that I was going to be worldly. Didn't really quite work out that way. I wound up coming back to Tacoma in 1996 to help my mom with the daycare. I, you know, became the director, ran it for like 16 years. And the parents were all like, you know, you're so good with the kids. I worked with school-age kids. I started a learning center. I had like computers, bought about 4 or 5 computers, and started just teaching kids, not really knowing what I was doing. Just teaching kids, you know, because I recognized that like the kids at our daycare didn't really seem like they were getting it at school. And so I wanted to make an impact there because my mom created a reputation for our daycare in terms of the kind of kids that were in the schools. And so I, you know, started working with the students. Parents were saying, you're really good with kids. And, you know, it was nothing to me, you know, because it was so natural. And so I kind of got pushed into, you should be a teacher, you should be a teacher, you should be a teacher. Went and did it. Had a kind of a challenging time getting through the program. But you know, I persevered and made it in. And it was funny to me. It's kind of like my little secret. But it's like my impact as a teacher really came from that more so than it came from what I learned in the college. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of like my little like secret in terms of being as effective and as impacting and as connecting with kids, you know. A lot of my colleagues, they like think that I play around too much or I'm too willy-nilly with kids, you know. But to me, that's part of the ingredient that kids need, someone to kind of be one of them,
Right.
you know, in terms of them wanting to grasp onto something that you're telling them and learn from that. Because like learning, to me, education is a hard sell, you know? Mm-hmm. It's hard to get a kid to get into the notion that like, I got to get something out of this desk here. And so when, as a teacher, when you're able to communicate that to the kids, that this is super important for you in your life going forward, and if you don't take it serious, it's going to have like an adverse impact on you as you go forward in your life. What do you want to do? And when kids like start to realize that, even in 3rd grade or younger, you can really see the kid on their way to what I like to call Successville. Mm-hmm. It's like imaginary place for kids to reach for, you know. And it's really cool. I teach them that you have to build foundations. That's what like I do. To me, it's really important to teach kids to be success-oriented students. And so part of that is like teach them how to take notes, teach them why taking notes is important, teach them how to pay attention. You know, because a lot of teachers don't really spend time teaching that. They think kids already know, mm-hmm. just because they go to school. But I spend a lot of time teaching that and building foundation, why homework is important, why you need to get into the habit of doing that every day. Mm-hmm. And so kids build this foundation, and building the deeper foundation, it gives them the ability to grow themselves as the skyscraper, taller and taller and taller. The deeper the foundation, the taller the skyscraper. And that skyscraper kind of transcends over into them when it's time to be selected for college or go to college. Their skyscraper is going to stand up more taller than all of their peers. It'll be easier for the selector to recognize them. Mm-hmm.
I love the way you talk about this. And this is what I was going to, like, this is what I noticed in the video, action in your classroom, right?
Yeah.
And inspiration. And I'm wondering, you know, you, in addition to being an unforgettable teacher, are a person. Right. And you need to turn that on every single day, because I know those little kids don't miss much, right?
Right.
And like you say in the video a couple times, you don't know what they're coming in with from the night before or that morning or just Absolutely. Their life in general. So how are you able to like summon the resources in yourself? Sounds like a lot of it you come by naturally, but what is it that you are able to call on every single day to turn it on for these kids?
I think for me personally, like, you know, I mentioned it in the video. I was a pretty good student in school, but I like going through, there's only like a handful of teachers that I can remember that really like connected with me as a student. And that's sad when I look back on it, because if I would have had more of that, I could have been even bigger, you know. But so I try to be that missing link that I didn't have for my students, you know, that's what motivates me. I try to be that missing link in like in whatever capacity. You know, what I didn't have, I make an effort to give that to someone, you know, and I kind of like seek out, you know, instead of just keeping my situations to myself. I seek out to see where I can help people, you know.
That's a good, I love thinking about that in terms of, we talked a little bit earlier about the one caring adult, that sometimes that's all a kid needs in their lives, whether it's a teacher or whomever. I know that a lot of people listening today have kids in their lives.
Right.
And so if you were to give them a piece of advice about how to be, in the little time that we have left, how to be that one caring adult for a kid,
Right.
what would you tell them? Like, it's in their church, it's their neighbor's kid, it's somewhere in their neighborhood. How do you reach out to a kid and be that person for them?
Well, you know, for me, it's like all about making connections. A lot of people have life's experiences that kids could use that knowledge so they can learn from, you know, the adversities that they may be dealing with. And like in seeking out, if people would spend a little bit more time and effort and energy, like seeking out opportunities or situations where they might see a place where they can link in with a kid or connect with a kid or another person. Doesn't necessarily have to be a kid, but we all need to, as people in a community, we all need to like seek out to help one another instead of just worrying so much about ourselves.
We just have a little time left, but I want to ask you about the Batman thing and how that helps you. You have this kind of alter ego, and you put it in a different way in the video, but that is, I think, a way that helps you reach out to these kids that you may not be able to get them otherwise. Is that true?
Yeah, it's like a lot of kids, every kid needs a champion. You know, whether it be a superhero, whether it be an icon, every kid needs a champion. The thing with Batman is like not every kid likes Batman. You know, not every kid likes school. And so a lot of times some kids who don't really identify with the superhero, they like identify with the arch villain. And so I kind of use that energy to create a connection with that kid to help. Because I always like to challenge my kid with rigor and grit, you know what I mean? And challenge them and get them to think like computationally how to solve problems. And so, you know, those challenges that are created are also part of the connections and the linkages that kids can fall back on when things aren't going so well for them, you know.
Okay. You know, this passion of yours is exactly what has put you in this category of being an unforgettable teacher. It's clear in the video, it's clear when I speak with you in person, so I want to thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being unforgettable, Aquilla, as a teacher and as a person. And thank you all for tuning in to this amazing program today. These conversations are really moving, for me at least. Stay tuned. We're going to be back with 3 more videos and 3 more people to talk to.